Hello everyone. Introduction to Geospatial Technology. What is geospatial technology? So, geospatial technologies is a term used to describe the range of modern tools contributing to the geographic mapping and analysis of the earth and human societies. Now, these technologies have been evolving in some form since the first map were drawn in prehistoric times. So, the fact is, you actually know more about geospatial technology than you think. Geospatial technology is all around us, like in our phones, in our cars, in our news, in our video games like Wuhu Island and Grand Theft Auto. These are some kind of video games which are based on geospatial technology. Then today's video games are much more different than that of our times, like they are based on virtual reality. So when we talk about virtual reality, we are actually talking about landscapes, topography, maps, and merely spatial awareness. Spatial. So right now I've used one term, spatial. Now this is the keyword associated with geospatial technology. Spatial means location specific. When you are linking every object with its location, and location in terms of geospatial technology means the latitude and the longitude. So frankly, geospatial technologies has almost become ordinary, and you are using it in your day-to-day life. Like almost everything that happens somewhere. So we human confine our activities largely to the surface and the near surface of the earth. We travel over it, then in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and we go through tunnels dug just below the surface. We dig ditches and bury pipelines and cables, construct mines to get at mineral deposit, and we drill wells to access oil and gas. So keeping track of all these activities is important when you are putting pipeline. So it is very essential for you to keep the track of the location of that pipeline. Then knowing where it occurs can be the most convenient basis for tracking. So geographic location is an important attribute of activities, policies, strategies, and plans. And geospatial technology keep track not only of events, activities, and things, but also of where these event and activities and things happen or exist. So you can see that I have highlighted this word, spatial information. So this is what spatial information is all about, where you are actually talking the object, or you are gathering the information about any object through its location, and that's to a location specific information you are talking about. So that is spatial information. Now before we begin, let's take a quick look at some important and the universal geographic concepts. So the very first question here is, how do we think geographically? Then how do we use mental maps and concept models to highlight the importance of asking geographic questions? Why is it important? How does it relate to geospatial technology? first question is, how do you think geographically? Thinking geographically means looking for solution for some problem which is location based. Some of these problems are so routine that we almost fail to notice them, like a daily question of which route to take to and from work. Like which route has less traffic and shorter way to do. So for which we mainly rely on our mobile GPS. So in order to know that which route you should follow every day, you take a help of the GPS app which is there in your mobile, which is actually a product of geospatial technology. So because location is so important, it is an issue in many of the problems society must solve. So this was just one example which I have given you. There are so many examples which exactly clear the concept of geographic problems that you are dealing with in your daily life. So problems that involves an aspect of location, either in the information used to solve them or in the solution themselves, are termed geographic problems. So here are some examples of geographic problems, like a healthcare managers. They solve geographic problems when they want to locate new clinics and hospitals. So it's a location based problem where a healthcare manager should locate their new clinics, in which area they should start off with a new clinic or a new hospital. So it's a location based problem and they deal with it almost every day. Then delivery companies, they deal with the geographic problem when the routes and the schedules of their vehicles. So while deciding the routes and the schedules of their vehicles, often on a daily basis, they are actually dealing with a geographic problem. Then transportation authorities, they select routes for new highways. So where should a new highway be developed? Which route is facing a traffic issue so that you can create a new highway in that area. So again, they are also dealing with a location based and the geographic problem in such cases. Then forestry companies, they deal or they solve a geographic problem to determine how best to manage forest, where to cut, where to locate roads, and where to plant new trees. So again, in order to take the decision with respect to these problems, they deal with the geographic problem and they take the help of geospatial technologies in order to solve these kind of problems. Then travelers and tourists, they also deal with geographic problems, give and receive driving directions, select the hotels in unfamiliar cities, etc. So these are some sort of geographic problems with which we are dealing with in our day-to-day life. I hope these examples might have cleared the concept of geographic problems, like which kind of problems are considered as geographic problems. The problems which are associated with location, we call them as geographic problems. So real world is very complex. And as far as geographic databases are concerned, they are often transactional, meaning that they are constantly being updated as new information arrives. Like new road network, like almost every day you can see some sort of new road is being constructed. So this road network is being updated very frequently. Similarly, forest cover, deforestation activities taking place or planting of new trees are taking place. So there are so many changes which are taking place within a forest, which are with respect to time. So very frequently the changes have been taking place. So forest cover data or the road network data, they are getting updated very frequently. So which cannot be completely dependent on paper map. So you cannot be completely dependent on paper map because this the paper map, they stay the same once they are printed, so they are not being updated frequently. So in such case, geospatial technology is very beneficial, and here a system like geospatial technology pervades many aspects of our daily life, because you can update the frequent changes in the landscape very quickly and very easily using geospatial technology, which cannot be done on a paper maps. Even atlases, in few years back or few decades back, you were completely dependent on atlas in order to know the status of the area, or in order to know the directions, in order to know the road network. Or so atlases cannot be updated so frequently. But nowadays we are using Google Earth, or you're using Google Maps, which are actually on a geospatial platform, and they get updated very frequently. Now, mental model and conceptual model. In our second question here, how do you use mental maps and concept models to highlight the importance of asking geographic question? So in this second question, I have used these two terms, mental maps and concept models. Now, what are mental maps and what are concept models? So a mental model is an explanation of someone's thought process about how something works in real world. It evolves with experience, and a mental model is the representation that a person has in his mind about the object he is interacting with. Mental maps are actually maps of the environment stored in our brain that reflects the amount and the extent of geographic knowledge and spatial awareness that we possess. Like during your school times, or few years back, when you used to describe your address to any of your friend, how you describe it on the basis of the information stored in your brain. Like you go straight, you'll find a roundabout, and you just take a left turn from that roundabout, you'll find a temple there. From temple onwards, you can take a right turn. So this kind of map, which is stored in your brain, so that is actually a mental map. So mental maps are actually the maps of the environment stored in our brains, so we call it as mental model. Whereas a conceptual model conceptual model's primary objective is to convey the fundamental principles and basic functionality of the system in which it represents. So that map, like few years back, which like the example which I have gave you, that where you explain your address to your friend. Now in current scenario, what you do if you want to look for the address, or if anybody wants to come to your address, so you are dependent on Google Maps. Now these Google Maps are actually conceptual models. They are the real world scenario. They are not the mental maps. So from mental map, you are now slowly advancing and coming to the conceptual model. A conceptual model is the actual model that is given to the person through the design and interface of the actual product, with accurate measurements, dimensions, and locations. So mental maps, and or you can say mental models, and the conceptual models. So mental model is actually your word, something which is related to a thought process of a person, whereas the conceptual model is the real world with accurate measurements, accurate dimensions, and accurate locations. Although both type of modeling add to our understanding of place and helps to form our decision making process. So this was all about geospatial technology, the introduction of geospatial technology. Thank you.